All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, the great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatir from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is on the Homestead Journey channel. The little Judite mommy, she usually has like a nice compilation of videos that bring up important themes or narratives here in the United States. And this compilation is America's Cost of Living is making people give up. And there's a whole lot of sighing and crying here in America because the land that they heard so many stories about from their parents and their grandparents and their great grandparents, how they lived in America, it's completely different from the experience that they are going through here. It's the complete opposite. And now folks are at the point where they're just like, hey, is this thing even worth doing? This whole American experience, this whole thing we call life and living, is it really worth it? So we're going to let probably about 4 or 5 minutes of the video play, and then we'll get some scripture.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
What am I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job, I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays.
Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left in my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago, and I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews and still nothing. I mean, what the going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to waive.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari.
Oh my
Chief
goodness.
Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy.
It didn't
I
play
look
it
forward
the
to
first
using-
time.
Y'all, I just went today and got my driver's license renewed, my car tags renewed, picked up 2 prescriptions, and got a few groceries. To say that I'm completely broke now is an understatement. So I'm going to have to go home and start selling off my furniture to be able to live the rest of the month. I mean, that's just, it's unbelievable. And my heart hurts today. Truly hurts for people who are not able. And we're living in some rough times, really rough times. And we need to be praying for all those around us who are not as fortunate as we are. to be able to do the things that we need to do. I'm not talking about extras. I'm not talking about going on vacation and doing fun things. I'm talking about living, taking care of your vehicle if you can even afford a vehicle, putting groceries on the table, buying medicine, the things you have to do. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, it's a really sad thing here. You know, we have a generation that is right now trying to survive in the US, and they're doing it at a time that it is so difficult with the rising costs. I really do feel for the younger generation and even for the older generation. I mean, you're hearing the stories here that it's just so difficult right now. You go and do a few things and it's like your bank account is empty, and that is the reality. Money goes by so quickly, and the reason why is because primarily, in my opinion, wages have not kept up here in the US. That's a fact. And also the cost of everything has gone up so dramatically that right now it's just not lining up. It's really, really, really difficult to make ends meet. And you do have to start learning to do with less. Take out the luxuries in life. Take out the unnecessary vacations, the unnecessary spending. Take out the wants and really just focus on the needs. And even just by getting the needs, purchasing the needs, taking care of your needs, even that really starts to draw people broke. And I'm seeing more and more that people are having a harder time to cope with this because it's getting too stressful. And even though this has been going on for years now, and if the pot continues to boil, I really believe things are just going to get a lot worse because people are already living on the edge, and you already can not afford something extra to happen or something extra to come up without just kind of going in the hole. So that's why I've been a proponent of just living as minimally as possible for years now, being as debt-free as possible and living frugally, because look at where we are today. Look at what's going on in the world.
Bro, the cost of living is insane.
Yep. You heard what she said. You know, just basically touching over a few things that I mentioned earlier before we played the video. All right, this younger generation is struggling. They don't believe that this going to work, having a family, having a house, or any of the things that they heard their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents talk about is even worth it now. All right, we live in a day and age where everything is high and damn near unobtainable. You got hyperinflation, you know, food is expensive, houses are expensive, cars are expensive. Okay, not to mention that, hey, we got more bills today than our parents had. Okay? Our parents knew nothing about cell phones and having a cell phone bill. Like, those are added things. Cable, subscriptions, you know, the internet. Like, all of these things that we have and use and interact with in this day and age, many of our parents, they didn't have to worry about those types of things. Now in this day and age, these are added expenditures. These are more things that you have to pay for just to function in society. And these things that you need to function in society have gotten so expensive that it has made, I don't even want to say it's living, but surviving damn near impractical or not practical. And it's causing people to give up. And that's why the scripture says, where there is no vision, no vision. Proverbs 29:18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Right? We're in that day and age where people don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can't see America bouncing back. Okay, when we had the very first, what was that, housing situation? What was that, in like 2001-ish? Don't quote me on that one. But I want to say it was in the, it had to be, because it wasn't in the late 90s at all. I want to say it was in the 2000s. Okay, the early 2000s, like 2001 or 2-ish. Okay. People were just like, it's not a big deal. These things happen. The market's going to correct itself. Okay. Then you had the housing crash of 2008. Folks are like, don't worry about it. The economy will bounce back. All right. Then, you fast forward, things happening with the stock market, real estate, the prices of oil. And folks are seeing that the market is not correcting itself. Everything just keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And they're just like, holy shit, man, when is it going to be an end? And they finally have come to the conclusion that there is not going to be an end to this. The market is not going to correct itself. Everybody is going to be priced out of even surviving. And that is completely crushing the hopes of people, because the scripture says that Proverbs 13:12, it says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. Right. Because when there is no vision, the people perish, as we just read in the previous chapter in Proverbs. And as we read in here in Proverbs 13, it says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. That hope, that things are like, when people feel that things are not going to get better, all right, that where it says that the people perish, not only physically, but folks are just, they get to a point where they are gone from life, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They're not there. They have checked out in all those aspects of life, and they're just existing. They're just passing by in life. I'm trying to think of the word or phrase for it, but they're just here. That's how we generally say it. When people are like, how are you? Well, I'm just here. That's how this new generation, and as the lady said, even the older generation, because now these folks have been in America for so many years. They've had these jobs where they've worked 25, 30 years, got their pension, their 401ks and everything. And now they worked all their life just to get back to a point where they have nothing again. And see, that kills the spirit. It says, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. See, if there was some actual hope, if there was a light at the end of the tunnel, you would see a little bit more pep in the step. Folks wouldn't feel as beaten down and defeated as they are in this modern time. Because when you look at people walking the street, these folks, you could tell they're done. They are beat down. These devils have beat these folks so far down into the ground. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That all the fight is just taken out of them. And they're up here sighing and crying in all their miseries and woes. And that also goes in the Proverbs. What is that, 22 or 29? Proverbs 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's what we have. Everybody is mourning. All right. I've never seen in this time in history on social media, on all platforms, where you have 20, 30, 40, you damn near got 50-minute video compilations of folks just crashing out, crying, angry, screaming, yelling, silent. I mean, just every human emotion outside of things that could be related to joy, folks are experiencing right now because life just sucks. And that's because the wicked are in rule. And not only that, we have the curses falling upon our enemies. Because see, when the elites had use of their lower class brethren and other people, nobody complained about these things. Life was still good. You know, we still got raises. We still went on vacation. Well, you know, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are struggling. Well, they're used to it. They're always struggling. So no big deal. I don't have to worry about it. I got me a secure job. I got my 401k. I got my pension. All right. I can get like 2 side hustles. No big deal. But now, these curses are on our enemies, especially our biggest one, bad Uncle Esau, the so-called white man, the wild man. All right, Deuteronomy 30:7. It says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Because see, when it wasn't affecting them, America was great. They're like, this is the America that I heard my parents talk about, the land of the free, the land of endless opportunities, the land where anything is possible, where you can make all your dreams come true. You can be anything you want to be here in America. Now in the so-called year of 2026, or whatever year this is, okay, that's not the sentiment. There's no walking with a smile. There's no whistling while you work, because there is no work. And even in Ecclesiastes, it speaks about that. Ecclesiastes 12. And we're going to start at 1. It says, remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. And we are in those days where people have no pleasure. No pleasure in life. They know they are not living. They know that they're not even surviving. They're doing something that describes a word under survival. Because even when you make enough to survive, you don't trip too much. All right? Even if you can't take a trip or go to a fancy restaurant or anything like that, if you can pay for your necessities and have a little cash over where you might be like, hey, you know what, guys? I got enough to buy like 2 packages of wings. If somebody want to bring some alcohol and somebody want to bring 2 other dishes, man, let's just meet in the backyard and just have a good time, play some music, cards, whatever. You know, if people at least had enough money to do that, they wouldn't trip too much. But folks don't have money to do anything. And this is why they have no pleasure in these days. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. That one chick that said, Man, I done put all these applications into Chat GPT and had it perfectly modeled for my job. And she's like, I still can't get anything. The one chick in the beginning, I'm 22 years old. I make more money waitressing than I do with my degree. I got a boyfriend. We grind all week long, see each other twice a week, and then we're back to the grind again. The one older lady, I just got my license renewed, got my meds, got my groceries. And she like, to say I'm broke would be an understatement. I got to sell my furniture just to have money to make it for this month. All because there are no jobs. There are no job opportunities that are being created. And then you got hyperinflation on top of that. Man, these folks are through. All right. And it's not going to get better. And this is something that many people in America don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that this thing is going to get worse. Okay? The only people that are truly looking forward to this thing getting a whole lot worse are the men of the Lord. As we read in that Proverbs, hope deferred make the heart grow sick. All right, we've been over here struggling since day one. Okay, even guys that so-called got, decent or well-to-do jobs. All right, when you see yourself doing so-called okay, but then you got the brotherhood struggling, man, that ain't living. All right, when you doing good, you want to see everybody else get put on. But we catching hell over here. As the scriptures say, hey, this devil is going to wear out the saints, and we are worn the hell out. But as it said, what was that in what was it, Proverbs? Yeah, it says, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. Right. When you actually do see a light at the end of the tunnel, hey, man, it just further boosts our spirits. All right, because we've been like, man, when are we going to get out of here? Man, things suck. And then now, okay, with these prophecies coming to pass, each and every day, when more people keep sighing and crying, hey, our hope and our faith just keeps getting bigger. And then, some people might say that sucks to say it that way, but that just is what it is. All right. The more people that suffer and are hurting and are in a bad case in America because of what's going on, hey, that further boosts our faith. The men of the Lord, the hopeful elect, that further boosts our faith, because we're like, wow, we actually see that there is a light. We know that the light is getting closer, and it's closer than it's ever been in our entire existence. Like, we are here. It's so close we can almost touch it. Because we know when this all ends, it is time for the kingdom. As the scripture says, where therein dwelleth righteousness. That's what we're looking forward to. So yeah, we might be hurting a little bit as Babylon the snake goes down. But hey, we all know all this has to come to pass for the kingdom to come. So that's all I wanted to say on this. Hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say shalom.